Ittam Gita Bhagavat Vrata Aineyajina Vasanusavam Abhishekadra Kapisha Kutila Jeta Kalapena cha Virochamanaha Suryarcha Bhagavantam Hiranmayam Purusham Ujjihane Suryamandale Abhyupatistan Etad Hovacha. Itam, in this way, Dhrita Bhagavat Prataha, having accepted the vote to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Aineya Ajinavasasa, with a dress of a deer skin, Anusavana, 3 times in a day, Abhisheka, by a bath, Ardra, wet, Kapisha, tawny, Kutila Jeta, of curling and matted hair, Kalapena, by masses, Cha, and Virochamanaha, being very beautifully decorated, Suryarcha, by the Vedic hymns worshipping the expansion of Narayana within the sun, Bhagavantam, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hiranmayam, the Lord whose bodily hue is just like gold, Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ujjihane, and rising, Surya Mandale, the sun globe, Abhyupatistham, worshipping Ether, this Uha, certainly, Uvacha, he recited. Translation. Maharaj Bharata appeared very beautiful. He had a wealth of curly hair on his head, which was wet from bathing 3 times daily. He dressed in a deer skin. He worshipped Lord Narayana, whose body was composed of golden effulgence and who resided within the sun. Maharaj Bharat worshipped Lord Narayana by chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, and he recited the following verse as the sun rose. Purport. The predominating deity within the sun is Hiranmaya, Lord Narayana. He is worshipped by the Gāyatrī mantra, Om Bhurboha Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. He is also worshipped by other hymns mentioned in the Rig Veda. For instance, Dhyaya Sada Savitrumanda Madhyavarti. Within the sun, Lord Narayana is situated and he has a golden hue. We have this verse is coming from the 5th canto in Bharat Maharaj story. Bharat Maharaj is worshipping. Many times we feel that he is doing the Devata worship. Actually, he is seeing all the Devatas as parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With that attitude, one can worship the Devatas, seeing them as Angas of the Lord. He is actually worshipping Lord Narayana in the sun globe as Surya Narayana, Hiranmaya. So, in Sanatana Dharma, it is told that everybody who is irrespective of parampara, if we have to call them as Sanatana, they have to worship the sun god 3 times a day and perform the Sandhya Vandana. Sandhya Vandana is primarily offering arghya to sun at Sandhya. There are 3 Sandhyas, morning, noon and evening, and glorifying the sun god, Lord Narayana within the sun globe, and offering dandavats. So Sandhya Vandana is actually offering arghya, offering pranam, offering mantra. That mantra is usually Gāyatrī mantra for the twice born. Otherwise also, we can recite, if we are not qualified, we can recite any mantra, even the mantras from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, to glorify the sun god. Normally it is the Gāyatrī mantra. And today is a very special day. Today is Ratha Saptami. Ratha Saptami is a birthday, appearance day of sun god. And also, sun god changes his chariot towards northeast direction, basically. From today, the heat will be more, the cold will be less, and we can feel that from Radha Saptami, the days will be more brighter. And it comes in Maghamasa in the Sukla Paksha, Saptami day, 7th day, and today is that day. So, we will read one more verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So there is here Prabhupada said that what he is reciting, which mantras? The mantra he is reciting is from Rig Veda. Prabhupada gives one mantra here. Dhyeyas sada savitrumandala madhyavarti Narayana sarasijasana sannivishtaha Keyuravan makara kundalavan kiriti Hari hiranmaya vapu. Like that. There are different mantras, but normally sun god is worshipped with Gayatri mantra Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Go to the next verse. So if we are not qualified, that's okay. So this verse we can read every day. I'll say you can repeat after me. Paro rajas savitur jata vedo Devasya Bhargo Manasedam Jajana Sureta Sada Punaravishya Chaste Hamsam Gridranam Rushat Dringirami Maha. Pararajaha, beyond the mode of passion, situated in the pure mode of goodness. Savituhu, of the one who illuminates the whole universe. Jata Vedaha, from which all the devotees' desires are fulfilled. Devasya, of the Lord. Bhargaha, the self-effulgence. Manasa, simply by contemplating. Idam, this universe. Vyajana, created. Suretasa, by spiritual potency. Adaha, this created world. Punaha, again. Avishya, entering. Chaste, sees or maintains. Hamsam, the living entity. Dridranam, desiring for material enjoyment. Rishat, to the intelligence. Ringiram, to one who gives motion. Imaha, let me offer my obeisance. Translation. So this prayer is offered actually to the sun god or Lord Narayana within the sun globe. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in pure goodness. He illuminates the entire universe and bestows all benedictions upon his devotees. The Lord has created this universe from his own spiritual potency. According to his desire, the Lord entered this universe as the super soul, and by virtue of his different potencies, he is maintaining all living entities desiring material enjoyment. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the giver of intelligence. Purport. The predominating deity of the sun is another expansion of Narayana, who is illuminating the entire universe. The Lord enters the hearts of all living entities as a super soul, and he gives them intelligence and fulfills their material desires. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishtaha. I am sitting in everyone's heart. One important point here it is told in this part of this purport is that the Lord fulfills everybody's desires. He gives intelligence, we know. He also fulfills everybody's desires. It is a sun god as representative of Lord Narayana who fulfills the desires of the devotees. As a super soul, Lord enters the hearts of all living entities. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 535. Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham. He enters the universe and the atom as well. In the Rig Veda, the predominating deity of the sun is worshipped by this mantra. Dhyeyas sada savitrumandala madhyavarti Narayana sarasijasana sannivishtaha. Narayana sits on his lotus flower within the sun. By reciting this mantra, every living entity should take shelter of Narayana just as the sun rises. According to the modern scientists, the material world rests on the sun's effulgence. Due to the sunshine, all planets are rotating and vegetables are growing. We also have information that the moonshine helps vegetables and herbs grow. That is there in Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Narayana within the sun is maintaining the entire universe. Therefore, Narayana should be worshipped by the Gayatri mantra or the Rig mantra. So, every day we should worship Narayana with Gayatri mantra, the Rig Veda mantra, and if we are not qualified, we can actually chant this particular mantra and we can glorify Lord Narayana. Go to the mantra again. So, this mantra, Paro rajas savitur jata vedo devasya bhargo manasedam jajana sureta sadha punaravishya chaste hamsam granam nushat vringirami maha. Now one more verse we will read. Pratnasya Vishno Rupam Yat
Pratnasya Vishno Rupam Yat
Satyasyartasya Brahmanaha
Satyasya Brahmanaha
Amrutasya Mrutyoscha
Amrutasya Mrutyoscha
Suryamatmanamimahiti.
Suryamatmanam Imahiti.
Pratnasya, of the oldest person, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, Rupam, the form, Yat, which, Satyasya, of the absolute truth, Ritasya, of Dharma, Brahmanaha, of the supreme Brahman, Amritasya, of the auspicious result, Cha, and Mrityo, of death, the inauspicious result, Cha, and Suryam, the demigod, Surya, Atmanam, the super soul or origin of all souls, Imahi, we approach for shelter, ititas. Translation. So this is another mantra by which we should worship the sun god. This is the mantra by which the inhabitants of Lakshadvipa worship the Supreme Lord. Let us take shelter of the sun god, who is a reflection of Lord Vishnu, the all-expanding Supreme Personality of Godhead, the oldest of all persons. Vishnu is the only worshipable Lord. He is the Vedas, he is the religion, and he is the origin of all auspicious and inauspicious results. Purport. Lord Vishnu is even the Supreme Lord of Death. He is also Lord of Amrita, Lord of Mrityu, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Mrityus sarva haraschaham. There are two kinds of activity, auspicious and inauspicious, and both are controlled by Lord Vishnu. Inauspicious activities are said to be behind Lord Vishnu, whereas the auspicious activities stand before him. The auspicious and the inauspicious exist throughout the entire world, and Lord Vishnu is the controller of them both. So both the inauspicious activities also controlled by the Lord, the auspicious activities also controlled by the Lord. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says, Surya Somagni Varisha Vidatrishau Yathakramam Plakshadi Dvipa Samsthasu Stitam Harim Upasate. There are many lands, fields, mountains, and oceans throughout the creation, and everywhere the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by his different names. So, whether we call Surya, Soma, Agni, actually one who is worshipped is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they are all his vibhutis, they are all his representatives. Srila Veera Raghavacharya explains this verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as follows. The original cause of the cosmic manifestation must be the oldest person and must therefore be beyond material transformations. He is the enjoyer of all auspicious activities and is the cause of conditional life and also liberation. The demigod Surya, who is categorized as a very powerful jiva or living entity, is a representation of one of the parts of his body. We are naturally subordinate to powerful living entities, and therefore we can worship the various demigods as living beings who are powerful representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please bookmark. Many times people criticize that, no, we should not offer obeisances to devatas and this thing. Here Srila Prabhupada is saying, and therefore we can worship the various demigods as living beings who are powerful representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the worship of the sun god is recommended in this mantra, he is worshipped not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as his powerful representative. So here directly Surya is mentioned. This is Veera Raghavacharya's explanation. Here Srila Prabhupada is quoting that the one who is worshipped is Surya as a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the previous mantras, we have read that sun is worshipped as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because in the sun globe, Narayana is situated. Either way, if you are worshipping sun as the Supreme Personality of Godhead or as a powerful representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still no harm, because we are accepting the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and accepting sun as his vibhuti or as his powerful agent. That means as a senior devotee. Yeah, sometimes we say that don't associate don't worship the devatas. That means that if we are saying that we don't want to associate with the sun god, we should not even come in the sunlight, because the moment you come in sunlight, we are associating with the sun god. Yeah. So it is very much recommended in Bhagavatam by all the acharyas and also Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. And as I told, the very definition of Sanatana is that one who worships the Supreme Lord, one who worships Sun as a representative of Supreme Lord in all the three sandhyas. We should be start doing it if we are. It is nothing to do with second initiation. Anybody, any varna, any ashrama can actually glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we are not qualified to chant the Gāyatrī mantras, we can chant the mantras mentioned here in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In the Kata Upanishad, it is said, Ritam pibantau sikritasya loke guham pravishto parame parardhe chaya tapau brahma vidau vadanti panchagnayo yacha tri nachiketa. O Nachiketa, the expansions of Lord Vishnu as the tiny living entity and the super soul are both within the cave of the heart of this body. Having entered that cavity, the living entity, resting on the chief of the life airs, enjoys the results of activities, and the super soul, acting as witness, enables him to enjoy them. Those who are well versed in knowledge of Brahman and those householders who carefully follow the Vedic regulations say that the difference between the two is like the difference between a shadow and the sun. In the Svetasvatara Upanishad, it is said that Sa Vishwakrut Vishwavidatmayonihi Gnaha Kalakaro Guni Sarvavidyaha Pradhana Kshetragna Patir Guneshaha Samsara Moksha Sthiti Bandha Hetuhu. The Supreme Lord, the creator of this cosmic manifestation, knows every nook and corner of his creation. Although he is the cause of creation, there is no cause for his appearance. He is fully aware of everything. He is the super soul, the master of all transcendental qualities, and he is the master of this cosmic manifestation in regard to bondage to the conditional state of material existence and liberation from that bondage. Similarly, in the Taittiriya Upanishad 2.8, it is said that Bishasmad Vatah Pavate Bishodeti Suryaha Bishasmad Agnis Chandrascha Mrityur Dhavati Panchamaha. It is out of fear of the Supreme Brahman that the wind is blowing, out of fear of him that the sun regularly rises and sets, and out of fear of him that fire acts. It is only due to fear of him that Death and Indra, the king of heaven, perform their respective duties. So all the devatas, out of fear, duty bound, out of respect, and they actually follow the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they do their duty so that we will get benefited with this. As described in this chapter, the inhabitants of the 5 islands, beginning with the Plakshatvipa, worship the sun god, the moon god, the fire god, the air god, and Lord Brahma respectively. Although they engage in the worship of these 5 demigods, however, they actually worship Lord Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities, as indicated in this verse by the verse Pratnasya Vishnoh Rupam. Vishnu is Brahma, Amrita, Mrityu, the Supreme Brahman and the origin of everything, auspicious and inauspicious. He is situated in the heart of everyone, including all the demigods. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.20, Kamais taistair hritagnyanaha prapadyante anya devata. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto the demigods. People who are almost blind because of lusty desires are recommended to worship the demigods to have their material desires fulfilled. But actually those desires are not fulfilled by the material demigods. Whatever the demigods do is done with the sanction of Lord Vishnu. People who are too lusty worship various demigods instead of worshipping Lord Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities. Please bookmark this point. People who are too lusty worship various demigods instead of worshipping Lord Vishnu, super soul of all living entities. But ultimately, it is Lord Vishnu they worship because he is the super soul of all living. So, the two kinds of Devata worship. one kind of Devata worshippers are those who are worshipping or respecting the Devatas as powerful representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The other set of Devata worshippers, they actually do not worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They worship only Devatas to fulfill their material lusty desires. So, but not worshipping the Devatas at all is actually rejecting Sanatan Dharma, because we see sun god every day, we see sun and moon every day, and it is told that one should actually offer dandavats to sun, offer pranam. But if we are not doing that, that is not correct. Not for material desires. However, it is sun god who fulfills the material desires, that is told. But as duty bound Sanatani, one should worship the sun god. Actually, the Supreme Lord within the sun god, with the mantras mentioned in the Rig Veda and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one should worship. If anybody has any quick comments, please unmute yourself and speak. Any question, comments?
There is no Sanatana with sun, without sun.
Yeah, there is no Sanatani without sun. That's correct. Yeah. So in many places, not only these verses, there are, you know, how many verses are there? More than 50 verses in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam glorifying the role of sun god. Because of limited time, we are only reading 3 verses today. But if somebody is saying that we should not do this thing, that is not correct. And if somebody is saying that Prabhupada did not say that, that is also not correct, because these purports are written by Srila Prabhupada, not his disciples also. The 5th canto, all purports are written by Srila Prabhupada, and in multiple places it is mentioned. And we see the Supreme Lord himself, when he appeared as Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, he was doing Sandhya Vandana. In fact, it there in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam also, in 1st canto, Krishna stops on the way to Dwaraka. When it is sunset, he was doing Sandhya Vandana. And also, in the morning, we see in Ramayana, we see in Mahabharata, we see in the life of all the great devotees, they were doing this thing. And if everybody else is doing, and we claim that we don't want to care about sun god, like that's not correct. And many times we may be just walking facing east. When we are walking facing east, sun god is right opposite to us. It is told that if a senior devotee, if we see a senior devotee, we should offer dandavats. At least it is told that if you accept other person as a Madhyamadhikari, I'm sure at least we can accept sun as a Madhyamadhikari. Actually is a great representative, is Uttamadhikari. But if you accept even as a Madhyamadhikari, still we should offer dandavats to the sun god. Yeah. So from today, let's remove the misconceptions and offer 3 times a day, offer dandavats to sun god. In sun globe, Supreme Lord Narayana is there. So that's what we do. Hare Krishna.
Are Vivasvana and Hiranmaya same person?
Vivasvan is the name of sun god, and Hiranmaya refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is effulgent, like Hiranya means gold, is effulgent, like that. So it refers to this thing. So both are same in one sense, both are different also. Vivasvan only refers to sun god. Hiranmaya refers to both sun god and also Supreme Personality of Godhead.